And a pleasant, good Saturday afternoon to you from the Moore Fitness Center. It is AAC women's basketball action here on the CIU Sports Network as the Bryan College Lions are in town to take on the CIU Rams. Over 1K Crenshaw with you on what's a rainy day outside, but a beautiful afternoon indoors for women's basketball action. And it's also a great time to welcome in the newest member of our broadcast team, our own Claire Foley, down on the sidelines with her pregame conversation with Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick. Claire, what coach have to say?
Yeah, Kate, talking to Coach Fitzpatrick before the game, he said their biggest challenge against Bryan is just going to come down to the numbers, with CIU only having 8 dressing time, whereas Bryan has 12. Looking back on their matchup against St. Andrews, he said that's what really hurt them, was just the numbers. He said the girls, just by the end of the game, were gassed out there. So from a coaching standpoint, that's going to come down to him being strategic with timeouts. And on the floor, that's just going to be slowing things down and being patient out there.
Thanks so much, Claire. And that will definitely be a huge key this afternoon, is strategizing around the numbers. We take you into the starting lineups for Bryan. While they lost the AAC's Player of the Year from a season ago and Destiny Kastner, they do return 2 NEI All-Americans. And between Caitlin Hennessy and Samantha Russell, who both are coming off averaging almost 20 points per game last year, and so far through 2 contests this season, Hennessy averaging 15, Russell 22.5 points per game. Tori Brooks is in the mix, as is Alyssa Mulaski, who Bryan views as probably their best offender, and the sophomore standout Katie Farrell, who had a tremendous all-freshman campaign last year for the Lions. As for Columbia International, at guard it's Deja Taylor along with Elena Watkins. Mariah Leinbach will play the 3 spot. Kanaya Watkins running the point with Aubrielle Harris attacking the inside post. Really a 4-guard approach this afternoon for Columbia International, and they're hoping to compete with some of the speed that Bryan will challenge them with. It's a beautiful Saturday here in the Palmetto State, and we are underway for AAC women's basketball action. The 1-1 Bryan Lions taking on the 1-2 CIU Rams. The opening tip-off will be in the hands of Caitlin Hennessy, the senior guard. Into the corner, Tori Brooks drives baseline off the glass and in. The junior guard out of Baxter, Tennessee, Brooks has really stepped up in the place of losing Destiny Kastner from a season ago. Brooks coming in averaging nearly 19 points a contest. Our first look at the CIU offense. Leinbach, left wing, trying to feed inside to Harris, but she's double-teamed, and it is taken away. A turnover on the first possession for the Rams. Now Hennessy goes underneath to a wide-open Farrell from the left side. An early 4-0 lead for Bryan. Columbia International coming off a 77-65 loss on the road at St. Andrews on Wednesday. Their first conference loss of the season. In a ball game that the Rams led by 12 at one point in the second quarter. Ball popped loose. It will stay with Bryan on the baseline with 19 on the shot clock. But ultimately it just came down to a little bit of what Claire alluded to just moments ago, the numbers game for Columbia International, with them not having a very deep bench in terms of rostered players. It came down to a couple players averaging 40 points in that St. Andrews contest, when really you would have liked to roll in some substitutions and different rotations to mix in some fresh legs on the floor. A 4-0 Bryan lead. Columbia International looking to find the scoreboard for the first time. Leinbach on the left wing goes back to Taylor at the logo. Kanaya Watkins coming off an 11-point performance in that Wednesday loss to the Knights. Leinbach has the lane and takes it off the window. Mariah Leinbach has been a bright spot to start the season for Columbia International. A player who saw double figures just 7 times last year is 3 for 3 here in 2023. Free ball off the mark from Hennessy as Harris battled for the rebound. It's knocked loose, but Deja Taylor comes away with it. The sophomore guard pulls up right wing 3, too strong off the back iron in the hands of the All-American Samantha Russell. Feeds down low for Brooks, and she's whistled for a travel down at the block. A 4-2 Bryan lead, just over 2 minutes into the first quarter on this afternoon. The Bryan Lions 1-1 overall. Dropped their season opener on the road at Brewton Parker 66-60, and you have to go all the way back to over a decade ago. The 2010-2011 season was the last time that Bryan dropped a season opener, and it was to Tennessee Temple, a collegiate program that is no longer operational. Feeds down low for Farrell from the left side once again. Katie Farrell now with 4 of Bryan's 6 points. Tennessee Temple is eventually, over the last few years, they eventually merged with Piedmont International and are now Carolina University, who dealt CIU their first loss over a week ago here in the Moore Fitness Center. But it's been a string of dominance for the Bryan Lions over the last few years. Harris looked at the straightaway 3 ball, couldn't connect. Bryan aiming for their 7th straight AAC title and NAIA national tournament appearance. First substitution on for the Rams, and it's Bethany Reimer to take the place of Aubrielle Harris. A lot to be respected about Bethany Reimer this afternoon. Just yesterday, she was in Winona Lake, Indiana, competing at the NCCAA National Championships for cross country. That's right, she ran yesterday in Indiana and drove back through the night so she could get back here. 3-pointer good from Ulaski, and it's a 9-2 Bryan lead. Deja Taylor, right corner, out for Elena Watkins. Her first shot is left short. Ulaski the rebound. Bryan a 7-point lead, under 7 to play in the first. 3 ball on its way, and off the mark from Tori Brooks. Player shooting nearly 37% from beyond the arc this season. Watkins looking to get herself into the lane in a transition bucket, but she's fouled and will head to the line for 2. A fresh 3 onto the floor for Bryan as Mulaski, Farrell, and Hennessy all step aside. We get our first look at the trio of Jaden Lee, Nevaeh Majors, and Autumn Davis. Watkins' first free throw is up and good. A grad student out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, now 3 for 3 from the stripe this season. Has always been strong from the free throw line in her career, nearly an 80% shooter from the stripe. That time off the left side, call it the announcer's jinx. That one's probably on me. Russell at the top of the key goes to Davis. Now right corner, Majors, a long cross-court pass. The 3 ball will be wiped away as Russell stepped out of bounds the back heel of her white Nikes, towing the sideline. Under 6 minutes left here in the opening quarter, a 9-3 Bryan lead. Columbia International trying to snap their offense into a rhythm. They've missed each of their last 4 shots. 15 to shoot. Watkins, turnaround, right hand, rolls off with Russell grabbing the board. Majors paces the offense. Pull up J from the NAIA logo, middle of the lane. She connects. First points for Nevaeh Majors, the senior guard out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Driving left side, Reimer's layup rolls off the right side. Cross move into the lane for Brooks, and it is a double-digit lead now for Bryan. They lead it 13-3, 5 minutes left in the first. The Rams haven't scored in 3.5 minutes on a shot. That one too high off the glass from Watkins. Brooks pass a little bit behind Jaden Lee, and Elena Watkins up for Kanaya Watkins. No relation between the two, just teammates. Long pass that Deja Taylor was able to grab and then knocked down by Autumn Davis. That's her first, team's second. And a timeout from Columbia International. Full timeout, 60 seconds, 4.5 to play. Here in the first quarter, it's a 13-3 Bryan lead. Will be back for more in moments on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, 4:36 to play here in the opening quarter. It's a 13-3 Bryan lead over Columbia International. Here in the timeout, let's check in with our friend down on the sidelines, our Claire Foley. Claire, what's going on?
Well, Kate, like we talked about in pregame, Coach Fitzpatrick said that for the Rams, he's going to be strategic with his timeout. So halfway through this quarter, Bryan now getting to a double-digit lead. He's going to take that timeout, try to slow things down. They're dealing with a lack of numbers on their bench, only 8 players. And a part of that reason is because they've been bit by the injury bug. Deja Taylor, she's going to be limited today. He's been counting on her for about 40 minutes a game. Coach said that's probably going to be cut in half today to about 20 minutes as she's dealing with a lower body injury. And Madison Hatcher is out again today dealing with a tailbone injury. Those are key players that Coach Fitzpatrick was planning on looking to this season. So they just really got to slow things down and use these timeouts to their advantage.
Thanks so much, Claire. And as Reimer's jumper pinballs out, you're exactly right. You talk about Madison Hatcher being a key piece missing for this Rams offense. Hatcher missing her 3rd straight game this afternoon, was scratched into the season as a mainstay starter for this team, especially due to her perimeter shooting ability. But Hatcher goes down to the opener against Morris College after 9 minutes, was knocked down in the corner on a hard foul on a 3-point attempt. And like Claire mentioned, dealing with a tailbone injury these last 3, she could miss some extended time. They're hoping for the best, getting some more evaluations over these next few weeks before heading into the holiday break. 15-3 advantage, Bryan over Columbia International. Autumn Davis, who just connected on a layup, up ahead for Samantha Russell for a layup of her own. An 8-0 run for Bryan over the last 2 minutes has built up their largest lead to date. A 17-3 advantage over CIU. 3.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. Kanaya Watkins standing on the left wing for CIU to Elena Watkins. A long 2, falls short. Russell got a tip on it. Top of the key 3 from Brooks, and she buries it. Tori Brooks now with a game-high 7 points as Bryan goes up by 17, 3 minutes left in the first. Leinbach at the elbow, too strong for the Rams' leading scorer. Brooks, cross-court pass for Russell. Too strong. Having to slow the offense down here, she feeds Watkins. Now over to Reimer. 3 ball on its way. Kisses every inch of the rim before falling out. Tori Brooks from 3-point land once again. Timeout, Bryan. Tori Brooks, a player who averaged just 8 points a game last year, already has 10 today and is averaging close to 20 points through Bryan's first 2 games of the season. Timeout, Lions will take it with them. 2:20 left in the first. It's a 23-3 lead for Bryan over CIU. We'll be back inside the Moore Fitness Center on the CIU Sports Network. $14 unanswered points for Bryan over the last 3 minutes here in this conference clash, and you go back even further over the last 5 minutes, a 19-1 run overall after these 2 teams were close early on to start. Clock approaching, 2 minutes left here in the first quarter. Bryan makes a host of substitutions, not a luxury that CIU can afford. Only able to dress 8 players today due to injury. Watkins, corner jumper off the mark. Caitlin Hennessy and Katie Farrell both check back on, as do Mulaski. 3 starters back in there for Bryan. But a 3 ball from Russell waved off for the second time as she stepped out of bounds along the far sideline. A minute 54 here in the opening quarter. Columbia International trying to get in sync offensively. They've missed each of their last 12 shots from the floor. They haven't scored in over 4 minutes. Down low for Harris. Pass back outside, taken away by Hennessy. After 2 missed shots, Hennessy looks to take a third, but before she can wheel her way up to the rim, foul whistled on the floor. It's against Mariah Leinbach, her first. Columbia International's first team foul. Hennessy to take the inbounds on the baseline. Mulaski lifts the 3 ball up. Too strong off the back iron. Reimer in transition. Reimer coast to coast. Bethany Reimer, a player who's trying to find that same spark that she did in the season opener against Morris when she buried away 22 points back on opening night, but has since been limited, had just 4 points against Carolina in the second game, and she did not play on Wednesday. We were telling a bit earlier how Reimer was running cross country at the NCCAA National Championships in Winona Lake, Indiana, just yesterday. So she was traveling and missed Wednesday's game for the dual sport athlete. This pass to Harris, tipped up and taken away by Bryan. Up the floor for Paige Moody. 45 seconds left in the opening quarter. Nevaeh Majors, layup left short inside for Farrell, and she's fouled on the putback attempt. Foul will go against Aubrielle Harris, her first. Columbia International's second team foul. Katie Farrell stepping to the stripe. First one too strong. The AAC all-freshman team member from a season ago. Averaged 8 points and 8 rebounds last season. She can't connect on either free throw. Deja Taylor from deep. Too strong. Majors the board. Shot clock turned off. But Bryan looking to score quickly. Stopping that scoring threat was a foul on Mariah Leinbach. An important second foul on Mariah Leinbach. The Rams leading score at over 23 points a game. Getting in some early foul trouble here. Moody from the corner. 26-5. Bryan leads it. 15 seconds to play in the first. Nine seconds now. Taylor at the logo. Gets a screen from Harris. 3 ball, she's fouled. Nevaeh Majors, the guilty party. Her first, Bryan's third team foul. 2.3 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Deja Taylor at the line. 9 of 11 to start her sophomore campaign. First one today is up and in. The Newberry, South Carolina native, went to high school just 43 minutes from CIU. Had her freshman season marred by injury. She missed over 15 games last year with an ankle injury. A player that has a lot of potential here at CIU, scored over 2,500 points in her high school career. 3 for 3 from the stripe goes Taylor, and Nevaeh Majors will heave a half-court shot. That won't get there to beat the buzzer. 26-8, Bryan over Columbia International. A 17-2 run over the last 6 minutes of the first was the defining moment for the Lions. We'll step aside and be back on the CIU Sports Network. We make our way into the second quarter here inside the Moore Fitness Center. Glad to have you back on the CIU Sports Network. Kay Crenshaw up in the booth. Claire Foley down on the sidelines with you on this Saturday afternoon. A 26-8 lead for Bryan over Columbia International. As at one point, these two teams are separated 4-3 advantage of Bryan, but closing out on a 22-5 run has built up the Lions a substantial lead. Alicia Slaughter getting her first minutes here in the second quarter, and her first pass is a turnover taken away by Katie Farrell. Farrell 4 points in the first quarter. She's looking for the assist here, but Hennessy can't connect on the perimeter shot. Here's Russell from the corner. Too strong. Leinbach grabbing the board. Her third of the half. Kick out Bethany Reimer. Left-hand floater. Not there. Jaden Lee grabs the rebound, the freshman center out of Cleveland, Tennessee. Ayanna Kennard, freshman point guard, goes to Russell, now Farrell. At the elbow for Hennessy. A minute gone by in the second quarter. Russell, right side, off the window. Samantha Russell, a player who is a two-time first-team AAC performer, was an NAIA All-American just last year. Reimer, right side three ball, she buries it. Bethany Reimer with a team-best 5 points here in the first half for CIU as the Rams break double digits. Hard foul underneath on Hennessy. She'll get two at the stripe. Foul goes against Alicia Slaughter, her first. Columbia International's first team foul. As Caitlin Hennessy steps to the line. First one is up and in. Now 7 for 10 on the season is Hennessy. A four-time conference first teamer. She sinks both. And it's a 30-11 lead for Bryan. Watkins, pull up Jay at the right elbow. Too strong. The Rams now 3 of 19 from the floor to start it. Hennessy out for Russell. 5 made threes here in the first half for Bryan. And Samantha Russell now with 7 points in 11 minutes. Watkins, another free throw line jumper. This time she connects. Nia Watkins works her way into the scorebook, her first made field goal. Russell once again too strong. Bryan now 5 of 13 from deep. Reimer looking to move quickly, but her coast-to-coast layup is a bit too strong. Lee left all alone in the post. A Bryan College team offensively that can work so quickly at times. Defensively, you can get lost. 7 minutes left in the first half. A 35-13 Bryan lead. Leinbach looking to go over the top for Slaughter, but Hennessy there for the steal. Kennard, right hand, rolls in. Her first collegiate points for the true freshman out of Nashville. And Elena Kennard is now the 10th Lion to score. Everyone that's seen game action for Bryan has put away a bucket. Foul down low, and it's against Kennard. Her first. Bryan's first team foul. Zabrielle Harris checks on for CIU in the place of Slaughter. We've got 4 new faces for Bryan as Kennard, Lee, Russell, and Hennessy all step aside. The lone player left is Katie Farrell. 6.5 to play in the first half. Leinbach from the left corner. Left short. Mariah Leinbach still with just 2 points here in the first half. Outside for Tori Brooks, fresh back into the ball game, and she picks up right where she left off. Brooks with a game-high 13 points, including now 3 made shots from the perimeter. Reimer's pass runs into traffic, and Brooks has the steal. Underneath for Davis, the layup off the mark, but Farrell is there to follow it up. Timeout, Columbia International. A 9-0 run over the last 90 seconds has Bryan on top, 42-13. We'll be back in moments on the CIU Sports Network. And we welcome you back in to the Moore Fitness Center. Second quarter action, 5:50 to play in the first half. Bryan leading CIU 42-13. The Rams looking to get Mariah Leinbach going. She has just 2 points today, was averaging close to 23 coming in. With more on the Rams' leading contributor today, here's our Claire Foley.
Yeah, Kate, like you said, Mariah Leinbach, she's been one of the top contributors for this team so far this year. They've kind of had to lean on her more with the limited numbers that the Rams do have, and she's one that's grown up in this system. From her freshman year, she didn't start any games. Last year, sophomore year, kind of started earning that starter position halfway through the year. This year, she's starting every game, averaging more than 30 minutes a game, and she's gone from single-digit average for her first 2 years. This year, 23. Rams they want to stay in it. They're going to have to lean on her more here as we head into the end of the half.
Thanks, Claire, and you're exactly right. Leinbach has to get moving here in the first half if Columbia International wants to mount a comeback. An early foul on Autumn Davis, her second for Bryan. Columbia International basketball looking to score for the first time in over 2 minutes, but they commit another turnover, the 9th of the first half. Majors up the floor, left side lay-in for Conradi. The 11th player to score this afternoon for Bryan. Everyone that's touched the floor has found themselves in the scorebook. A 31-point advantage for the defending regular season AAC champs. Shot missed from the right side by Watkins. Davis, jab step, kick out. Ulaski couldn't handle the pass. And this time, a kick ball back out of bounds will stay with Bryan. 16 seconds to shoot, 4:50 to play in the first half. Bryan Lyons and head coach Gabe Johnson in his second season with the team. Last year had the interim tag. And this year getting the full-time job. I was talking a little bit with him pregame about that transition period. He said, well, obviously it's nice because now you have that full recruiting cycle to go in. You understand that you have the confidence and the support of the athletic department, knowing that you're going to be back permanently, and this is a permanent position for you. So he says that was the biggest adjustment for him, was having that comfortability just in the job security aspect of being the head coach of the Bryan Lions. Step back Jay here from Leinbach, left short. As Mariah Leinbach now 1 for 5 from the floor. Majors, layup rolls in. A 13-0 Bryan run over the last 3 minutes. Watkins responds on the opposite end for CIU. And Kanaya Watkins now with 2 made buckets. She's got 5 points. Tied for the team high with CIU, along with Bethany Reimer. Brooks, pump fake drive on the baseline. Lob pass taken away, and Leinbach has nothing in front of her but open air, and she takes advantage. The turnover turns into a transition bucket for CIU, and it's 46-17 Bryan, 3.5 to play in the first half. Columbia International's first points in nearly 4 minutes. Davis heaves a 3-ball up. It's too strong. A battle for the rebound. And a foul down low. It appears to be against Bryan. As Alyssa Mulaski has whistled for a push on Kanaya Watkins, her first. Bryan's third team foul. Mulaski and Brooks will both head to the sidelines here as Riley Ham, a true freshman guard who hasn't seen game action yet, makes her collegiate debut, and we see the return of Paige Moody in the post. Clock coming up on 3 minutes left here in the first half. Bethany Reimer, a long two. Toe was on the line, but she knocks down a long-range J. Bethany Reimer, one of 2 Reimer sisters that are in action this afternoon. Her older sister, Kira Reimer, in action up in Kingsport, Tennessee at the AAC Women's Volleyball Tournament as the Rams are able to pick up the win in the semifinals earlier today and are in the championship match this afternoon at 4:30. So best of luck to Coach Katie Weiss and Kira Reimer Attaway. Got the Mary title just before the season. So one sister already picked up a win today. We'll see if Bethany can wheel the Rams back into this one as well. 3-ball off the mark from Riley Ham. And it's a 46-19 lead for Bryan. Watkins thought about passing, but then the lane was cut off, so she tried to corral it back in, but is whistled for the travel. Jaden Lee checking back on for Bryan in the place of Conradi, who made the only basket she took here in the second quarter. It was a layup from the left side. Out for Majors. Not there from the right side. Second chance points for Moody. Too strong. And a foul on the rebound against Bryan. And Riley Ham in the post will pick up her first. Bryan's fourth team foul. The next will send CIU to the line. 2:10 left in the first half, a 46-19 Bryan lead. The Rams on a bit of a positive stretch as of late. The last 2 minutes, a 6-0 CIU run. Deja Taylor from downtown. Autumn Davis, one of 3 true freshmen on the floor right now for Bryan. Riley Ham, not there. Rebound poked back out of bounds. It'll be CIU basketball. Riley Ham making her collegiate debut this afternoon out of Culleoka, Tennessee. Has missed her first 2 shot attempts, both from downtown. 90 seconds left here in the opening half, a 46-19 lead. Watkins down low, shot blocked by Jaden Lee. Be sure to stick around at halftime as our Claire Foley will check in with Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick on his thoughts in the first 2 quarters in this one. Davis out of bounds on the baseline. Ham, corner 3, off the mark. Elena Watkins drives right side, left short. She battles for her own rebound and is able to dump it off to a teammate. Here's Reimer from the left side, but Deja Taylor follows it up. Third chance efforts from Columbia International extend it to an 8-0 run for the Rams over the last 3.5 minutes. Travel at the top of the key with 46 seconds to play in the half. Columbia International shooting just 25% here in the first half compared to Bryan, knocking down 48% of their shots. Watkins drives and is fouled in the lane. Jaden Lee picks up the foul, her first. As Kanaya Watkins will head to the line for the second time today, 1 for 2 in this one. Watkins now 3 for 4 here in the early season. The Rams 1-2 overall coming into today, 0-1 in AAC play. Free throw too strong. The graduate guard out of Chattanooga. Watkins climbing closer to that 1,000 point mark with 5 here in the first half. She's at 908 in her career. Make it 909. 34 seconds in the second quarter. 46-22, Bryan leads it. Majors on the baseline, out for Ham. 14 to shoot. A 4-second differential between shot clock and game clock, and a foul on the outside goes against Elena Watkins. That's just her first and CIU's third. Rams not in the bonus yet. 13 seconds to play. Shot clock turned off here in the first half. Moody goes down low for Lee. 10 seconds. Shot from the post, rejected back out of bounds by Aubrielle Harris. Her first block shot on the afternoon. 5th of the season. 10 seconds, sit on the game clock. Top of the key is Moody. 7. Looked at the 3, goes to Ham with 5 seconds. Off for Majors, 3 seconds. At the free throw line, she lifts a shot up and makes it in. Whistles blow, but for a travel. 2.1 seconds remaining. Watkins will pick up the roll. It's on the floor, and a last-second heave from Davis would have been waved off either way. A 46-22 lead for Bryan at the break. Columbia International, though, ending the half with some positive momentum over the last 4 minutes, a 9-0 run. We'll check in with Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick down the sidelines when we return right after this on the CIU Sports Network. Grab him. Claire, go grab him. We head into halftime. We'll catch up with Coach Fitzpatrick back out of the locker rooms as his team gears up for the second half. Here at the break, Bryan leads Columbia International 46-22. We'll be back for more on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, we are just moments away from second half action. Bryan leading Columbia International 46-22. We'll send it down to our Claire Foley down on the sidelines, who's catching up with Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick. Claire?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Here with Coach Fitzpatrick. Coach had a 9-0 run there at the end. How are we going to use that momentum going into the start of the next half?
Well, this is a very good team, and we came out very sluggish. Last 4.5 minutes, it was a 9-0 run. Is that what it was? Last 4.5 minutes, they scored 3 points. We have to defend the way we defended those last 4.5 minutes the rest of this game. Closing out on the jump shooters, stopping the ball in the penetration. And if we do that, we're going to be competitive in the second half.
And Reimer's been big for you so far today. How are you looking for her endurance as a cross-country runner here today?
Well, she's actually doing a pretty good job. She's one of the girls that's really in shape. But we only have really 6 players that we're using, and it's tough. These girls are getting a little bit winded.
And Bryan's a good team. What was the message in the locker room to try to motivate them going into the next half?
Well, I basically told them that you held them to 3 points the last 4.5 minutes. If you can do that stretch, you can do it the rest of the game. We just simply have to defend. That's
awesome.
What we have to do.
Thank you, Coach.
You got it.
And thanks so much, Claire. That was Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick here at the break. Just 2 minutes away from the second half. We'll bring you all the action coming up when we return here on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, it is AAC women's basketball here on a Saturday afternoon. Kate Crenshaw up in the booth, our Claire Foley down on the sidelines with you on the CIU Sports Network as we are just moments away from the third quarter. And Bryan on top of the Rams 46-22. And just as you heard when Claire caught up with Rams head coach Mike Fitzpatrick moments ago, the biggest key for Columbia International here in the third quarter, defending like they did for the final 4.5 minutes of the first half, as CIU not only held Bryan to just 3 points over the course of the final 4.5 minutes, but they closed it out on what was a 9-0 CIU run to draw them back within 24 of the reigning AAC regular season champs. Back for the second half, both teams going with mainstay players from the first half. Columbia International switching things up a bit as Elena Watkins and Bethany Reimer are 2 changes from the starting lineup to begin the third. Bryan moving its offense around quickly. All 11 players who saw action there in the first half for Bryan were able to score. Top of the key, Caitlin Hennessy. Drive, kick out. 3 ball from Russell, and she buries it. Samantha Russell into double figures, the second Lion this afternoon with 10 points, and she's a rebound shy of a double-double. Columbia International looking for the responding score. Harris from the paint, shot off the mark, but second chance is poked back over to her, and she follows it up. Aubrielle Harris with her first points today. Russell from three-point land once again, this time off the mark. Farrell, the offensive rebound, stripped away by Reimer. And a foul whistled on the floor as Farrell's hands caught a piece of the face of Reimer in a battle for that ball. Katie Farrell's first. Bryan's first team foul. Columbia International shooting just 37% from the floor in the first half compared to Bryan's 52. Foul underneath will send Kanaya Watkins to the line. Tori Brooks picks up her first personal. Bryan's second. Watkins at the line. First one off the mark. Kanaya Watkins now 2 of 5 from the free throw line. A career 79% shooter from the stripe. She sinks the second. And 90 seconds gone by in the third quarter. It's 49-25 Bryan. Ulaski on the baseline. Goes up and in. 5 points, going with 3 rebounds today from Ulaski. Watkins, an off-balance pass as she was falling, but Reimer was able to collect it back in. Free throw line, Jay. Pinballs off from Kanaya Watkins. Hennessy nearly has her pocket picked by Watkins. Samantha Russell has an open three. Can't connect. Hennessy, the offensive glass, put back off the mark, and it's Harris to grab the board. A 26-point lead for Bryan. Deja Taylor, left side three ball. Not enough. Ulaski the board. In transition, 2-on-2. Kick out for Tori Brooks. Too strong. Another offensive rebound for Bryan, and Brooks has a second chance. And a foul on the rebound against Bryan. It will go against Samantha Russell, her first. Bryan's third team foul for a push on the interior. Reimer out of the corner. 3 minutes gone by in the third, and a steal here from Hennessy. Left side layup is in. Caitlin Hennessy, the senior guard out of Athens, Tennessee, has just 4 points today. But she's also only had to play 12 minutes due to Bryan having such a large lead. And Taylor buries the long two from the corner. The Rams' first bucket in over 2.5 minutes. Hennessy down low for Farrell. Fouled on the block. She'll head to the line. Elena Watkins picks up her second personal, first team foul against CIU. As Mariah Leinbach checks on for the Rams in the place of Harris. Meanwhile, for Bryan, as Ulaski and Hennessy step aside, we see the return of both Autumn Davis and Nevaeh Majors. Farrell at the stripe. Sophomore out of Smithville, Tennessee. First one takes a hop and through. Farrell, the last time she was in this building, actually set her career high with 18 points back in February of last season. Farrell, after that missed free throw, has 7 this afternoon. Leinbach, backside cut, layup off the mark. Davis racing the offense up the floor. Out for Russell. Too strong, but she's got the second chance effort with the lay-in. A bad pass results in a turnover. Running jumper from Russell. And she has another offensive rebound, but throws this one away. Watkins looked to keep it in play. And it's back in the hands of Bryan. Farrell underneath. Layup off the mark. Bryan 10 turnovers to the Rams 13 as Bethany Reimer draws closer to double digits. She's got 9. Russell stops in the paint. They've got Majors open in the corner. No defender on her, but too much under it. The rebound out of bounds will stay with Bryan. Majors, a second chance from the corner, but she'll step out of bounds. Back on the sideline. Head coach Gabe Johnson peeling his case that Majors' heel was over the line, but not down on the line. 4:45 in the third quarter. 57-29, Bryan leading. Elena Watkins from the perimeter. Clanks off the right side, back out of bounds. Columbia International in a 2-3 zone. Brooks out for Majors. Now Russell inside for Farrell. No call underneath. Stripped away by Leinbach. Leinbach loses her dribble. Farrell gets the steal on the opposite end. Up the floor for Brooks. And it's a 30-point lead for Bryan. Tori Brooks with a game-high 15 points in this one. An opportunity for more. And a foul off the ball. The layup will not count for Tori Brooks. And Kanaya Watkins is whistled for a push on the ensuing trail. Watkins will be whistled for her third, team's second. It's not always you see those type of calls. And now they're going to say the basket counts. And Bryan should not have the basketball here if that's the case. Have never seen anything like this before. No reason Bryan should have the basketball here. But indeed they do. 3.5 to play in the third quarter. It was an off-the-ball foul, and they counted the basket. 3 ball for Majors, too strong. Deja Taylor hauls in the rebound. 61-29, Bryan on top of CIU. Taylor left side 3 ball, she buries it. Deja Taylor into double figures with 10. 2 shy of her career high. The Mulaski has the responding call for Bryan on the other end. We told you Deja Taylor 2 shy of her career high. She set that last year against Bryan in the conference tournament. Pass poked out of bounds will stay with CIU. 2:45 to play in the third. Taylor driving, layup left short. Elena Watkins able to haul it in and put it back up, and she's fouled. Caitlin Hennessy picks up the personal, her first. Bryan's fourth. And Watkins can connect on the first. The true freshman out of Asheville, North Carolina. Came in averaging just over 7 points a game. And that free throw gives her her first point today. 64-33. Bryan leading Columbia International, under 3 minutes left in the third. Hennessy trying to search in the corner, but turns around and takes the layup instead. Caitlin Hennessy with 6 points. Bryan leads it by 33. Ten to shoot. Deja Taylor. 5 seconds now, 4. And is fouled on the drive. Foul against Autumn Davis, her third. Bryan's fifth. CIU will head the line for the remainder of the quarter. As Davis along with Nevaeh Majors and Jaden Lee all check out, we see Russell, Farrell, and Brooks, 3 starters, back on the floor for Bryan. Deja Taylor at the stripe. Now 4 for 4 from the line in the afternoon is the sophomore. Could tie her career high with this free throw, and does. Deja Taylor with a team best 12 points this afternoon. Now Elena Watkins chips in on the defensive end with the steal. Kanaya Watkins in the lane, right-hand layup, too strong. Ulaski out to Brooks. One hopping off. Rebound back out of bounds, last touched by Bryan. Under 90 seconds left here in the third. 66-35 lead for Bryan over CIU. Linebach, baseline jumper, not enough. Mariah Linebach limited today to just 4 points. Came in averaging close to 23. Mulaski from the left side. And it's a 68-35 advantage for Bryan. Under a minute to play in the third. Columbia International today working without some key pieces to their roster as Madison Hatcher continues to rehab from injury. Deja Taylor knocks in the straightaway 3-ball, a new career high for the sophomore. She's got 15. But you're without Madison Hatcher, who's rehabbing from injury. Not to mention Jessica North away from the team today as well. Ulaski drives, layup left short, but she's fouled. Foul against Linebach, her third. 26 seconds left in the third quarter. Alyssa Mulaski at the stripe. First free throw off the mark. Mulaski scoreless in the season opener at Brewton Parker. She finished with 8 points and 8 rebounds against Johnson on Wednesday. With that made free throw, she's got 11 this afternoon to go along with 4 boards. One of 3 Lions in double figures. Shot clock turned off with 15 seconds to play in the third. Watkins, elbow jumper, she connects. 69-40, Bryan on top, 7 seconds. Hennessy driving, right block, lay in off the glass. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. A 71-40 Bryan lead over CIU as the Lions outscore the Rams by 9 in the third. We'll step aside and be back for more in moments on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, we are moments away from the final 10 minutes in this one as Bryan leads Columbia International 71-40. The Bryan Lions looking for back-to-back AAC regular season titles as Gabe Johnson leads the Lions in his second season at the helm. With more on Coach Johnson, here's our Claire Foley. Claire?
Yeah, Kate, second season for Coach Gabe Johnson, and he's actually a Bryan basketball alum himself. He started his collegiate career a little bit later. By the time he graduated from Bryan, he actually had 3 kids of his own, so the guys on the basketball team started calling him Pops. And you know what? All these years later, there are actually still guys on the Bryan men's basketball team still calling him Pops, but that's because they're his 2 sons, Ian, senior, and freshman Caden.
Thanks so much, Claire. It's a fun nickname, right? You got Pops on the team, and now he's still Pops with 2 sons that we'll see in the men's game later on this afternoon when these same 2 institutions will meet on this same hardwood floor. 30 seconds gone by in the fourth quarter. 71-42 our score. The opening jumper was good from Bethany Reimer. Now underneath, Leinbach powers it in. It's a 4-0 start to the fourth for CIU. Out front for Samantha Russell, who has 12 points today, going with 12 rebounds with a double-double. Kick out Kennard. Underneath for Lee. Turnaround move in the post with 5 to shoot. Off the mark, Watkins the rebound. And Kanile Watkins looking to power her way inside. Layup just rolls off. Russell from the perimeter buries it. A 30-point lead for Bryan. Samantha Russell now with 15 points. She and Tori Brooks have led the charge this afternoon for Bryan. Brooks with 17. We just said Russell with 15. Watkins on the other end for CIU. Kanile Watkins into double figures now with 11. Up the floor for Reimer. Layup too strong. Davis the board. And Samantha Russell once again from deep. Russell now 4 of 10 from the outside. She's got 18. In the middle, it's Elena Watkins with the lay-in. Her first made basket today. 7 minutes left here in the fourth. A 77-48 Bryan lead. Outside for Davis. Too strong. Bryan from the outside today, shooting 30%, 10 of 33. Watkins knocked down on the layup. She'll get 2 at the line. Moody steps on in the place of Hennessy. Watkins' first free throw able to roll in. Now Watkins now 12 points on the afternoon. Deja Taylor, a team leading 15. You've got Bethany Reimer adding in 11 as well. As Watkins sinks both, she's got 13. 6:40 left to play here in the fourth. A 27-point lead for Bryan. Top of the key three for Moody. Left short, Deja Taylor there to grab her 5th rebound, going with 15 points. In the corner for Leinbach. She connects. Mariah Leinbach from downtown. She's got 9, and the Rams have a little bit of momentum. Russell, the right-hand layup. Leinbach once again. This time it's left short. Rebound for Kennard. Over for Moody in transition. Pass a little bit too far in front of her. And Russell will go down low for Lee. Low post shot, not there. Out for Leinbach. The right side, too strong. Reimer, the offensive rebound. Give her 5 boards today. And a jump ball down on the floor. Possession arrow will go to Bryan. Pair of substitutions on for the Lions as Farrell and Conradi return to action in the places of Lee and Russell. Timeout, Bryan. 5:20 left here in the 4th. 79-53 lead for Bryan. Over CIU. We'll be back on the CIU Sports Network. Five minutes left here in the 4th. 79-53. Bryan on top of Columbia International. Bryan basketball out of their own timeout. Right side 3 from Moody. Fouled underneath by Reimer. That'll put Farrell at the line. Reimer with her first. Columbia International's first team foul as well. Katie Farrell knocks through her first free throw, the sophomore out of Smithville, Tennessee. Farrell's second rolls off. She's got 9 points. An 80-53 lead for Bryan over CIU. Down low for Leinbach. Gets it to go from the low post. Kennard, the long J. It banks in after a couple hops. Ayana Kennard now with 4 points today in her collegiate debut for the true freshman out of Nashville. Clock approaching 4 minutes left. An 82-55 Bryan lead. Leinbach's layup rolls off. Watkins grabs the offensive rebound. Out for Taylor. 3 ball left short. Moody's 3 ball too strong, and we've got an offensive foul against Bryan and Farrell. Columbia International will take a 60-second timeout here. 3:44 to play. Bryan on top, 82-55. We'll be back on the CIU Sports Network. Back inside the Moore Fitness Center, 3:44 to play here in the fourth quarter, an 82-55 Bryan lead over the Rams. Elena Watkins at the top of the key for CIU. She's got 3 points today, but 4 rebounds and 5 assists for the true freshman. Leinbach, he's a jumper up and will draw the contact. Earn 2 at the stripe. Farrell picks up her second personal. Kennard back on the floor for Majors here with 3:23 to play. Leinbach's first free throw up and in. A player that had a slow start today, just 4 points in the first half from Mariah Leinbach. And she now has 12 here in the game, 8 in the second half. An 82-57 Bryan lead. Davis over for Kennard. They're trying to feed Farrell in the post. Turnaround left hand, drops through. Deja Taylor's having a career day, 15 points, 5 rebounds. Floater up, too strong. Battle for the board, back out of bounds. Will go to Bryan. (84-57) Bryan on top. Kennard works her way back into the middle. Dishes over to Conradi. Now Farrell on the elbow. 15 to shoot. Moody, pump fake drive, nearly lost the dribble, has 7 to shoot. Out for Davis from the left side, 3 ball. Pinball's out, Leinbach corrals the board. Approaching 2 minutes left here in the fourth. Taylor from 3-point range. Once again, Deja Taylor, a team best 18 points today. A new career high. The Rams trailing 84-60, under 2 minutes left. This kickball foul in the lane will stay with Bryan. Of course, the season is still young, but conference play already beginning. But CIU will take a dip out of conference play here in the next few days. With more on that, here's our Claire Foley. Claire?
That's right, Cade. Later on, coming up in this week, they have a midweek exhibition against Presbyterian, but the next one to count, like you said, is against in-town foe Columbia College. Now, CIU has come out on top in 3 of their last 4 meetings, but it's definitely going to be a battle for them, as all 4 of those have been close, 3 of which decided by just 1 basket.
It's always a close, competitive rivalry between those 2 schools that are just separated by a few miles. A foul underneath on Kennard. It was on the floor with 1:31 left here in the fourth quarter. 87-60 lead for Bryan. Be sure to stick around with our post-game coverage coming up here on the CIU Sports Network. Followed that up by men's basketball action. A foul on the drive from Leinbach. She called some hard contact. And Leinbach will step the line for the second time today. She's 2 for 2 on the afternoon. Leinbach 79% on the season. She sinks the first on this trip. And the second one rolls off. And we have an offensive foul here on Bryan for an illegal screen. 1:20 left in the fourth. Bryan leads it 87-61. Watkins, handoff for Deja Taylor from 3-point range yet again. For the first time in her career, Deja Taylor tops 20 points. as number 0's got 21. 54 seconds left here in the fourth. Moody from the corner, too strong. She grabs her own offensive rebound. Two seconds separate the shot clock from the game clock. 13 to shoot for the Rams. Watkins. Jump stop at the post, out for Bethany Reimer. Jumper too strong. Rebound poked out of bounds. And it will stay with CIU with 6 seconds remaining. Deja Taylor with 3 seconds. A long 3-ball on its way that just pinballs out. That'll do it for us here for women's action. Bryan the winner, 87-64 over CIU. With the victory, Bryan improves to 2-1 overall and 2-0 in the AAC. They'll be back at home against Tennessee Wesleyan coming up on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Columbia International moves to 1-3 on the year and 0-2 in conference play. As Claire told us a little bit earlier, the Rams coming up next week will have an exhibition matchup at Presbyterian in 4 days before taking on Columbia College, crosstown foe, on November 16th. We'll step aside for just a brief moment and be back with you for post-game coverage when we return to the final today. Bryan 87, Columbia International 64. We'll be back on the CIU Sports Network. Back here in the Moore Fitness Center for post-game coverage of the final. Bryan 87, Columbia International 64. But down on the sidelines with our player of the game, Deja Taylor. Here's Claire Foley. Claire?
Thanks, Kate. Here with Deja. Deja, career day for you, 21 points. Coach told us you're dealing with a lower body injury. So how were you able to overcome and have such a successful day?
I've been working my whole life for this, so one injury's not going to stop me from playing. So, yeah, just push through it.
And what does it mean to you growing up around here to be able to do it on a home court?
I've been playing basketball my whole life since I've been 4, so that's all I know. And I just go out and compete. Yeah.
Tough Bryan team. What did you like about how you guys battled out there?
We had heart, kept competing, kept scoring. Everybody played their role, so did good.
What's the momentum going into next week against Columbia College?
Play hard, execute. Everybody play their role, and just play with heart.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dana.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Claire. We're glad to have you as well, a part of our broadcast team. A great debut for Claire Foley on the sidelines and a career day for Deja Taylor out on the floor. 21 points, a new career high for the sophomore. Well, that'll wrap up our women's coverage this afternoon. As you can see down the floor, the men's team's already warming up, and this is going to be a great AAC men's basketball clash with Bryan and Columbia International. A matchup of last year's conference championship game is less than 30 minutes away. We'll see you right back here on the CIU Sports Network when we return.